It's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Michael Haggard, Managing Partner of the Haggard Law Firm. He is the past president of the National Crime Victim Bar Association, and he's currently the secretary of our board at the National Center for Victims of Crime. He also has the unique and tragic distinction of handling more gun violence cases than any other plaintiff's attorney in the nation. Please welcome him and the panelists. Tim Schmidt is the proud father of Tim Schmidt Jr., who was tragically killed in the downtown Orlando Halloween mass shooting on October 31st, 2024. In his son's memory, he founded Until Forever, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting victims, families, and communities impacted by gun violence. Through his work, Tim is turning unimaginable loss into meaningful action and hope. Happy Perry is the mother of Deshaun Perry, who was killed in the University of Virginia mass shooting on November 13, 2022. To honor her son's life and legacy, she has organized neighborhood events that give back to the community he loved. From bike giveaways to her recent end gun violence football camp. Through these efforts, Happy keeps Deshaun's spirit alive while working to build safer, stronger communities. Jeff Binkley is the father of Mara Binkley, who was killed in the Tallahassee Hot Yoga Studio shooting on November 2nd, 2018. In her memory, he founded Mara's Voice, a foundation dedicated to ending gun violence through research, advocacy, and education. Mara's Voice strives to learn as much as possible about violent acts and how to prevent them, recognizing that hate is a serious threat to public safety. Through this work, Jeff and the foundation are a positive force for culture change, ensuring Mara's Voice continues to inspire action and hope. Dr. Alyssa Reingold is a clinical psychologist, professor, and associate director at the National Crime Victim Research and Treatment Center at the Medical University of South Carolina. She serves as director of the Response, Recovery, and Resiliency Division of the National Mass Violence Center. With over 125 peer-reviewed publications and book chapters and 300 presentations and workshops, Dr. Reingold's work focuses on trauma, bereavement, and victimization. For more than 25 years, she has been deeply honored to support individuals navigating profound grief and trauma. Our work is driven by the hope of translating these experiences into guidance and healing for those dedicated to helping others. Here's a little bit more on these three incredible survivors and the ones that they lost.
Heartbreak at the University of Virginia, where 3 members of the school's football team were killed. The young men were returning from a class trip to Washington, D.C., where they took in a play.
Deshaun Perry was also an artist.
I noticed as a child that was his way of expressing himself. He wanted sketchbooks and arts materials, and it went on from there.
I believe once he got to high school, he kind of took off. After his 10th, 11th grade, then he started doing the pottery and more advanced artwork.
The family started receiving his artwork from the university and got a surprise. And so that's him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
The Shield. And
that's you.
yes.
A 3D printed self-portrait inspired by Greek mythology and a hidden image of Mom, always on his mind.
Kind-hearted and goal-oriented, Happy shares a list her son made. Number 6 captures his gracious spirit, a goal to give back to his family and the people who helped him achieve a dream of one day playing in the NFL.
Gracious God, our Father, we come to you on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday. We come thanking you for what this day represents, the first annual football camp in honor of a wonderful, wonderful young man. The life, the legacy, and the leadership of Deshaun Perry.
Another deadly shooting, this time in Florida, where a gunman opened fire at a yoga studio in Tallahassee last night. The man killed 2 people.
Maura embodied the Tri-Delta woman, brave, bold, and kind.
She was outgoing, adventurous. She was truly, truly one of a kind.
Always smiling. Her smile definitely lit up any room. So many people said that, and I think their reaction to it, more than just a smile, was because of what was behind that smile. A person who loved and cared for people deeply, did everything she could every day to enhance the well-being of others.
We're here to officially and publicly launch Maura's Voice. Our goal is to foster positive cultural change so that we can effectively address the entirely unacceptable epidemic levels of violence in our society. Listen again for Maura's voice, because she's reminding us all that at the core of everything, only love can conquer hate.
Halloween took a horrific turn in Orlando, Florida, when gunshots rang out during a large celebration overnight. 2 people were killed.
My son was overachieving. He had friends of all walks of life. The best friend circle a parent could ever ask for. Always laughing, always working on himself.
My favorite part about my dad and our brother-like father and son relationship is that he always treated me like a man. I was never a baby. The standards were always set so high. And what else could you expect from a man who's taken so many risks and always managed to come out on top?
We're coming on 9 years of Pulse. What has changed since then? What's it going to take, Orlando? When are you going to shape up?
Creating the Until Forever charity in his honor to help families of crime victims.
While we'll never get our son back, we can keep his helping heart, the one he was shot directly into on that street over there, by providing love and support for others going through the same thing.
We need change. This shouldn't have happened.
He started a nonprofit, Until Forever, which raises money for families and victims of violent crimes.
We want to be there and pick up the phone when these things happen and say, hey, don't worry about, a GoFundMe that may or may not get traction. We're here for you. Please send us your funeral bill. Let us get you therapy.
Good morning, everyone. We're here to talk today about the epidemic of our time, and that's gun violence. 40,000 people a year in the United States of America die from gun violence. And yes, this is going to see, as you just saw in that video, this will be a deep discussion. But as you can see from that video, the hope and inspiration that these 3 families have fought through and what they are doing individually in their own communities and throughout the country, I think is incredibly inspiring. And our goal today is not only for the folks on this stage to leave here with a renewed purpose, but for all of you. For all of you to enact what they are doing, what you are doing in your jobs every day, to somehow turn the tide of gun violence in the United States of America. And, what's profound to me about that video is that loss is not just Jeff's, Tim, and Happy's. That loss is ours. When you look at those 3 kids, all in college, all doing incredible things, when society loses people like that, we all lose. Our society loses, because those were 3 kids in college doing incredible things. They had already achieved so much, and you can't lose that in a society. And what I'd like to do starting off is I'd like to do more justice to learn just who these incredible individuals were. And Tim, I'd like to start with you, and if you could tell the audience a little bit more about Tim Jr.
Sure. I was so proud of him. He was such an overachiever, such a likable, admirable, caring person. He always wanted to learn. He never gave you any negative responses when you asked him to do things. He was always just a helping hand. I called him Little Buddy when he was small, and he became my best friend. As he said, we had a brotherly-like relationship. It was just awesome living with someone who was not only your son, your friend, a mentee, and a brother all in one. I mean, we were inseparable. He was so bonded with me that when he was 14, he said, "Yo, Dad." That's always kind of how he addressed me. "Yo, Dad." "I think you should change your Instagram handle. It's Tim Schmidt 99. And I said, "Well, you were born on 9/9. What do you want me to change it to?" He said, "I think we should go Tim Schmidt Sr., Tim Schmidt Jr., and have that connection. And I said, okay, I think that's really sweet. 2 years later, he said, are you ready to get a tattoo? We had junior and senior, forever tattooed each other. I was so proud of him. He was so good at choosing friends, making good decisions. He was on multiple soccer clubs. He left every single one of those with friendships with not only his teammates, his coaches, but the parents, the volunteers, the people in the administration, and they've all been showing up for us, which is phenomenal. I couldn't be more proud of him, and I miss him every day.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Jeff, when I look at Mara, I went to Florida State, I see my sister, and more importantly now, I see my daughter, Madison, who's 23. All she accomplished, if you can just explain to everyone who she was.
Certainly, and I'm often asked to talk about Mara, and I always start from a kind of different place every time. I don't know how I'm going to start. Given the way Mike set this up, I'll start with her life at Florida State in the year 2018. She was a senior, 21-year-old senior, had completed her classwork. Was going to do some directed independent study during the spring. She had applied for Fulbright Fellowship. She had studied previously in Germany, and this was to return to Germany and teach. And her ultimate plan was to follow that up with a Fulbright Fellowship, which she applied for, which she was awarded, but she never knew she got. So she was at the point at which she was going to move beyond the college world, the undergrad world, and I guess Mara was going to be on a larger stage. And I think what prepared her best for that was simply her love for other people. Mara loved everyone as a sister or a brother. To her, there was no other. Cruel irony, othering, is the basis of hate. Can't hate a group of people unless you consider them something other. Mara lost her life in a crime of hate on November 2nd, 2018, along with Dr. Nancy Van Vesten. She was a loved and admired medical school professor at Florida State University. Dr. Van Vesten left behind 3 daughters in their 20s. 4 other women were wounded. They survived. They will never recover. Families don't really recover. Communities never really recover. And as a society, unless we develop the collective will to address what we so accurately refer to as epidemic of violence, preventable violence, our society will never even get on the road to recovery to what I would consider a truly decent society. That was Mara's message to the world. She was in Tallahassee and went to the Capitol with Florida State students to support those lost and their families in the Parkland shooting that year. She and her friends were very aware. They grew up in it. Columbine happened before she was born. They grew up in it. They got it. They understood it. Maybe it's up to that generation to change it. I don't know. But it is based in that love, but also Mara exhibited strong will. And that's also what it's going to take, a conviction and a will. So for this, so much more tomorrow, but I'll provide that context. Leave that with you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Happy, a lot of the folks who attended last year met Deshaun through the art exhibit that we had, and it was very, very awesome for a lot of the attendees, and I know obviously very personal for the NCVC staff. Can you talk a little bit about Deshaun outside the field, if you could, to introduce him to everybody?
Absolutely. Deshaun was our Renaissance man. He loved to love, he loved to show love. Starting from youth football or basketball, we started him out in sports until he found his niche. And as he grew up, I saw the maturity and I saw the strength. He was very well in depth with his connection, with his faith and with God. Always in church, always doing something for others. As he went through middle school and then in high school, it was just the levels of growth that I saw was astounding for me as a mother, a young mother, and my young man. And I do have two others. He had an older sister and a younger sister, but he was my middle Renaissance man, like he was our guy. In high school, he worked at one of the Bay County Youth Fair to save money to buy his own car. He didn't know that I was there to match the money that he was saving, but that's another story. And everybody, like, he would not let his players, his team members walk. If he saw them on the street, he would pick them up, and that's who he was. Even through college, there in Virginia, from Miami, trying to get this class in snow. He don't know how to drive in snow, but he would pick them up and get them. That's who he was, and I'm so proud of him. So proud of him. And there's little nuggets that he's left in my life to let me know that he's here always with me. And so I carry that with me, and that is my hope for the future.
Thank you, Haggard. Thank you for just giving us a glimpse of these incredible people. And Dr. Reingold, if you could talk to us a little bit about the center, its role, and your role in dealing with this epidemic.
Sure. So I'm from the National Mass Violence Center. We were established in 2017 through the Office for Victims of Crime to be able to provide resources and support for communities, both in preparing for mass violence incidents that is victim-centric, as well as to assist with response and recovery efforts, walking alongside local agencies and organizations who might end up experiencing a mass violence incident in their community. So we provide resources. We don't reinvent the wheel. There's some resources that exist out there. We have 23 partnering organizations, national organizations. NCVC is one of those that we will work together to provide resources, to create resources in the aftermath. We also do some research to be able to better understand the impact of mass violence, not only on direct victims and survivors and family members, but on the entire community, because this has a rippling effect. So we do a little bit of work to better understand risk factors for that as well.
Thank you so much. Last night when we met, there was a question that I did not know if I should ask, and I asked all of you, and you told me I had to ask it. And that is, when we have professionals out here that deal with the most serious levels of trauma, the question is, how do you go on? How do you pick yourself up every day? And I didn't know if that was appropriate to ask, and Jeff looked at me and said, well, if you're not asking that, you have no business moderating this panel. And so Jeff, I'll start with you. I start out every trial that I handle where a parent has lost a child, and I remind the jury that we have a name in our dictionary for if you've lost your parents, you're an orphan, or if you lost a spouse, you're a widow. We have no word for what you three have endured. And so Jeff, you could kind of start and tell folks how you've tried.
I didn't realize you were going to start with me, but yeah, I mean, my three-word answer would be, I don't know. You know, how you do it, I don't really know. It's an improvisation. It is every day is difficult in its own way, but I think most important element of that improvisation is always keep looking out, and the sense of purpose that we develop, and I think that's true for all of us, is keep that in mind, develop that sense of purpose, and that love that your, in our case, child, that they exhibit toward Durfee Hamlin, toward others. Project that into the world, whether that be all immediately around you or as far out as you can. It doesn't matter, but I do think that outward look and that consciousness of trying to deliver love, deliver hope, that honors legacies. And I think that's what best I can do and tell. That it's certainly in my case, that's what gets me up here and gets me out of here.
Jim? Well, I know this is free-flowing, and we went over things last night and said that, you know, things might change a little bit as we go, but I thought you were my friend. You already threw me a curveball. You said, how do you get up every day? And to that, I would answer, I'm 10 months into this. How are you assuming that I'm sleeping? Because I don't, many nights. I didn't sleep well last night. I didn't have these bags under my eyes a year ago. In fact, you might not believe it, but for 14 years I had a skincare company that specialized in anti-aging creams, and I was the face of it. Now, I don't sleep very often and often have dark circles and under eye bags, and it's just a part of the equation that you deal with. It's gotten better over time, you know, thanks to edibles primarily. Not gonna lie, I'm a very transparent person. But no, things change over time. It's gotten better, but there's just a lot of times your mind wanders, you can't think, you get memories, and you get stuck. And getting up every morning is different every single day, as Jeff suggested. We don't know what's going to trigger us throughout the day. There's different things you see, you feel, you hear, you smell, you touch that remind you of moments. And for me, that's probably the hardest thing. But his memories give me the drive, and as Happy said earlier, there's nuggets. And I wasn't anyone that ever thought I'd go through this, number one. But number two, you hear people say they're always with you. And to me, I just thought that was a positive reinforcement thing. Like, let's stay happy and positive and believe that they're with us. No, it's real. It's very real. One example I can give you, and there's many, but one example I can give you is my son turned 18 his senior year, and in high school, of course. And I made him a video of just the memories I've collected since he was a baby all the way through until about June that summer. And I had my video editor make a really nice montage. If you want to go to YouTube, happy 18th birthday, Tim Schmidt Jr. I urge you to check it out. You'll get to know him very, very well. The song I played in it is Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, because that was his personality. That song pops up in the most ridiculous moments. My wife and I were driving to a farmer's market about 12 miles from our hometown, that we wanted to check out. We'd never been. We wanted to get our little mini golden doodle out of the house so she could run around and smell and meet other dogs, and we could pick up some produce. We were not 50 feet away from the hospital he was born at, and organically on Sirius XM radio, that song came on. It comes on at various happy hours, places we've never been to. And that's just one example, but that song comes on, I just instantly freak out a little bit, and I'm like, he's here. He's with us. And to me, that was the best example I could give of it, but there's so many more, as Happy suggested. Little nuggets show up, and the darndest things happen, and until you experience that, you'll never really understand it.
Thank you. Sorry about the curveball, buddy.
It's all right.
Before I get to Happy, I want, Patricia Oliver is here. You lost your son, Joaquin, at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and Manny Oliver once said to me that gun violence is the new cancer, and that it will come to you, Mike. And I didn't know what he meant. I didn't know what form. And Deshaun Perry played high school football with my son. And I used to always say, as a trial lawyer, when I would meet Jeff, or meet Tim, wow, I wish I had met Maura and Tim Jr. before, until I represented Happy, because it ripped me in half. Because Manny was right. It did come to me. It did come to my doorstep. And I, obviously, Happy and I live in the same hometown and see each other a lot. And we're together from the beginning, but maybe you can talk a little bit about your journey over the last couple of years, Happy, too.
The question was, how do I get up?
As Tim made a very good point, you assumed that I needed to get up.
My push forward is always to know that somebody's watching me, and somebody wants to know my story. And the strength that I have within, I have to pour out, because I'm dealing with our future, the younger crowd. And I want them to know that there's hope after, right? And so I go out in the community, and I'm knocking on doors, and I'm helping parents, and I'm trying to find resources in a place where we got budget cuts, right? To help others. And I feel like there is a lot of power in numbers. So when things like this happen, that we see on the news every day, we're losing babies now. We're losing our future. So to go and just knock on the door and get that hug from that mom, and just to give her that sense of hope in a hopeless world, that is my push. And so with my foundation that I created in honor of Deshaun, I'm in Miami, so it's happening maybe 3 times a day. And I get these calls, and I get up, and I'm still working full time, but I still find the time. And then there are his teammates, from Pop Warner football to Gulliver to University of Virginia, who still call and text. And when they get in those moments, they need that push to move forward. So I try my best to be that person and be there for